This video is brought to you by the #1 European MMA promotion, Octagon MMA. They are the biggest MMA show in Europe, selling out arenas in the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Germany. They're now sponsoring the Pain Game, and they are coming to the UK for the first time ever. The big event is November the 4th in Manchester, and it starts at 5 PM, so no more waiting up till 3 AM in the morning for your favourite sport. Now, the reason Octagon MMA is so good is they've got really interesting characters fighting for this promotion, I'm telling you now. The fights are brutal, the knockouts are violent. You love it, I love it. I've been watching for a while now, it's great. The next event is on the 16th of September in Frankfurt, with one of the most anticipated European fight cards out there. The fighters are competing in the Tipsport Game Changer, a pyramid tournament with €1 million on the line. You can watch the full card from the 16th of September at 5 o'clock UK time on octagon.tv for pay-per-view or on DAZN. But for now, enjoy the video. Tommy Fury versus KSI. I assume you've seen, you've seen the Jake Paul Tommy fight and you've seen a bit of KSI. How do we see this going? Because for me, I'm a bit biased. Obviously, I'm wanting KSI to win, but you know, from an objective standpoint, real boxing fans, what do you think?
I think Tommy Fury's going to win, and I don't think it's going to be that hard. Like,
do you think it'll be easier than Jake Paul fight?
I do. I've looking at Jake Paul and KSI. I've kind of always felt like Jake Paul was just a bit better than KSI, so I don't think Tommy's going to struggle.
Any reason why?
Just the temperament when they're in the ring, just the style-wise. Like, KSI looks like he's working out of MMA guys.
Yeah. He's in a gym where, you know, Chisora, the one Chisora trains out of, which is part MMA, part boxing.
Right, okay.
The guy who was literally in the corner for Chisora's last fight actually trains.
That's his trainer?
Yeah.
So it's like half MMA mindset. Because some of the stuff he does in there, I look at him, I'm like,
it's quite karate based.
That's not from this textbook.
Yeah.
So I look at the stuff he's doing and I'm like, well, at least Jake Paul is working to, like, he's improving in boxing.
He just actually looks like a boxer.
Yeah.
I've never looked at KSI and thought he looks like a boxer. I thought he looks very novice-y and very, like you say, it doesn't look pure boxing. It looks like a guy who's been in an MMA gym or been in an unlicensed scene and had a few.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. Whereas Jake Paul, I've seen some real, like, I've seen elements where he can jab, he can move. I've seen progression with, obviously KSI he's been out the game for a little while. He's went back to his YouTube stuff. But
his last couple of fights, KSI basically won by knockout quite quickly as well. So there's not a lot of data for us to sort of.
He just looks like a guy who's going to go in and have a fight, a scrap.
That's right.
There's no technicality
but then
to
that's
what
the
he does.
mistake, and that's the mistake there, because Fury, like it or not, and the pressure.
He's
because the last one, even that pressure versus Jake Paul in a look at the
Jake Paul betting his whole purse.
Here's that.
He put the pressure on.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But there also but there was still pressure in terms of family pressure.
Huge,
You're a Fury.
huge pressure.
You cannot lose to him.
That's right.
You know, his dad, John Fury's taken off his top 1,000 times. Like, after a while, you have to win this fight. So we learned something about, and even in the celebration at the end, we learned something about Tommy Fury in there. Yeah. We learned that, well, like it or not, we'll say what you want to say about him. He had some grit. He outclassed him, and then KSI is playing boxing. That's what we have to call it. Like, he is playing boxing in the sense of
playing boxing.
Yeah, he's playing boxing.
Did you not think the Joe Fournier fight offered anything?
Nah, not at all. He's playing. Well, this guy is at the moment, and don't get me wrong, I'm very proud of what he's achieved, right?
Yeah.
Prime and this, that, and the other, but he's not dedicated to boxing the way you need to be to catch up.
The way Jake Paul has.
Because right now, I'm talking about being behind. A lot of these guys' fighters are behind because they've stepped into the ring really late in their careers. Now, Jake Paul's dedicated a more significant amount of time than KSI has, because, again, misfits, everything's getting in his favor. So for him to be on point to fight a Tommy Fury who's been, like it or not, even if you don't rate his development and stuff, he's been in the gym for a very long time, or just been around.
Since he was 6 years old.
This is it. So now he has to catch up and meet him and best him.
It's going to be tough.
Obviously, we know what Tommy's going to bring. He's going to bring the jab. He's going to control the fight as best as he can and just tactically and soundly outthink you. Whereas KSI is like you say, more of an MMA guy. He's wild. The one thing I think KSI has that may, like, from everyone who's ever trained him, and even private conversations, no reason to lie or anything, they say he hits hard.
Good power,
for his size,
okay.
He's extremely explosive and arguably some people say he hits harder than Jake Paul, and he's quicker.
Really?
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I can believe that, to be honest with you. But it's like when it's like you look at what he's doing with Fournier, for example. Like even when he's coming in on the attack, there's like this little kind of like side shuffle, you know, skips the feet, and it's like these little things. It's like. I know the kind of thing that you're probably emulating, but it's one of those ones that's like, this is still kind of white collar level-ish, the way you fight and the stuff he's been able to do in there. Whereas Jake Paul, I wouldn't say he's like white collar level. I'd probably say up there, he can mix with some amateurs and that kind of thing if he's taking boxing seriously. Whereas KSI's like those skills that that you're bypassing for these little fancy little things. I'm like, no, it's gonna come unstuck the minute anything real is in front of you. Joe Fournier wasn't real. Joe Fournier is not someone that boxers look at and say, yeah, Joe Fournier is the guy. There's always like a little...
Yeah, when I looked at Joe Fournier's previous fights, I remember thinking, this isn't real.
We're talking about Hayes' friend, yeah?
Yeah. There's stuff going on there. Like,
Yeah, there was a few fighters who looked like they threw it against Fournier or just couldn't be arsed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Even when I saw him on the pads, I was thinking, nah, there's no way.
Fuck, wasn't he? Yeah.
This is nonsense.
Yeah. He was terrible.
It's a difficult one because I can't really rate KSI's power, and like when I've watched him, I haven't, from the outside looking in, I wouldn't say he's got like real power, and he's not really naturally. I don't know what's his frame. What sort of size is he? He looks a lot smaller.
He's
than
about
5'9".
6 foot,
Is he?
maybe 5'11", and sorry, JJ, if you're watching, 175 pounds, and that's another thing. So
Walking around with,
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
I'd say in camp, he just naturally doesn't carry a lot of weight. Like it will just sort of, you know how some people, it drops off them quite easy. So like Tommy was complaining about 183.
This is what I'm
so
saying.
Tommy looks like a bigger guy. He
looks big.
So for me, JJ's best chance is to catch him with something freaky early on that's
it.
unpredictable. The longer this goes on, the more technique should
what's going to happen?
take
is,
over.
in my estimation, it's going to be one on the jab.
Yeah.
He's going to see him, he's going to time him in. The footwork isn't sharp. It's not going to be something that's going to confuse an actual boxer who knows what he's looking at. He's going to time him, and then by the time he gets comfortable enough reading him with the jab, the right hand's going to follow. He's going to walk onto something silly.
How competitive can this be, in your honest opinion? Is this a blowout, or is this going to be...
Oh, no, we're not going to blow this one
way.
out. We're talking about someone that's going to become the Misfits champion. This is business. Like, this Misfits thing is business. And what you need to do is sell this thing. You need to sell this product. And so Tommy knows what he's doing in there. Tommy knows that he's got no business going the other way. He's never going to go back to normal boxing again.
Yeah.
This is where he lives now. So then he has to play the game, because he runs this
What do you
thing.
mean play the game?
Well,
Do you think he's going to take it easy on him?
What he's going to sell it.
Is that what
He's
you're
going to
saying?
do. Yeah, it has to.
I personally don't think he's going to be able to starch him. Like, he's going to be a thing where, I wouldn't say dominate, controls. As in control, it's a controlled win. He gets to a point. The judges shouldn't be hesitating on who won the fight. It's going to be a clear Tommy Fury win. As far as dominate goes, no, we're going to get a show. We're going to get a show. I'm not trying to insinuate that it's staged, but it's like it's just going to be what it's going to be. Tommy Fury's going to sit at the top of the pile.
Let me insinuate. Let me just say it. It's going to be a show, bro. It's going to be a
There's no way KSI is going to do anything fake.
No, I'm saying it's going to be... No, it's not going to be fake. I know that. Remember when Mayweather fought... Mayweather fought Logan Paul, the older brother? And Mayweather could have just mashed him up at any point. But he said, let me just
to show you,
take you on this journey.
Just to show you how, like, this isn't what's going on in KSI's mind. KSI, I mean, ultimately what this is all really about is KSI versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul lost to Tommy.
Yes.
So now KSI's going, let me have a go at Tommy. If I win, I'm already better than you. I don't even need to have the fight with you.
This is true. No, but I'm saying that KSI...
If I lose, then we can still...
KSI is taking it serious. But I'm saying that what Tommy's going to realize is this is still KSI's business. So regardless of, I can't blow him out. I'm going to make sure that I carry him. I'm going to play the game that I need to play. He's in there. He means it.
I'd be surprised if that's the case. Do you really think that he's never going to try to get back into the ordinary boxing?
No.
Nah.
With what's going on in the Misfits, he ain't coming back
Tommy
again.
Fury going to start mixing with Anthony Yard and Boateng and these guys.
No. What I think is it's really hard to say how serious Tommy is about this whole boxing game. I think you come out of Love Island, he's obviously all of a sudden the attention's been brought to him, and he's like, well, boxing's what I do, it's in my family. People have probably kind of told him, you need to now go into boxing. That's how I feel. I don't feel like he really wanted to be a boxer. I feel like it's been external pressures that forced him down that avenue, and kind of it was an opportunity for him to make money, make a bit of a name for himself, and then as these opportunities have been presented to him, he's kind of grabbed them with both hands. So I just don't know where his head's at exactly. Is he just here to make money? Is this like he's just took these opportunities and he's like, right, he's rolling with it at the moment, and then he's going to kind of try to get back on track with boxing? It's really difficult to assess.
Let me come back to what you said, because I strongly disagree.
That's fine.
Because, thank you. Because if you watch Tommy Fury fight Jake Paul, there was times he was trying to take his head off early on. And
I said horrible things about his. The build-up was horrible.
So his daughter as well.
Regardless, like this is war to them. Even though to the pro boxing world, it's fun and games. To them, because it's a different kind of thing. Is like when you're coming from an influencer world, your value, especially if you're KSI, is I never lose. I always, everything I touch, I'm winning. Prime. Yeah. Every fight he's ever had, he's won. Even against Logan Paul. So KSI is 100% going to come flying out the traps at him.
I think these guys think it's Tommy's thinking this is my entrance in, not so much KSI.
It's not about KSI. KSI is going to have the professionalism. He's not coming to mess around and stuff. KSI means it. This is a serious fight.
You think Tommy doesn't mean it when he's trying to take Jake Paul?
No, because it's different. It's a different fight. It's like what we saw with Errol Spence and Crawford. There was, after a while, Crawford realized in this fight very early, I can beat you. And then after, what he did is he said, you know what, if I could have wiped him out, he could have wiped him out third, fourth.
I disagree with
that.
And
he let it back.
I disagree with that.
Don't you think he carried him a bit?
Disagree with that.
Nah.
You don't think he carried him a bit?
Not at all.
If you could have took him out earlier.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I thought
let's get on Tommy Fury.
I'm going to stay on this. But I'm just saying, in boxing, there's certain times when a fighter will say, you know what, the respect I have for you and this, that, and the other, I'm not going to just piss you out.
Listen,
I just
because the minute you're in there for too long, you make a mistake, you could be flat on your back and waking up. So like, no boxer does that. If you can
think Tommy's going to feel that KSI can get him flat on his back at any point in the fight?
He's not that experienced, and I don't think he's that confident in his own ability at this stage. I mean, against Jake Paul, there was a few moments in them later rounds where he was definitely shook, and like I just don't think he's went through any of the fights where he's like it's been really convincing.
I think you're overestimating the technical ability of Tommy. Like Tommy was in a fight against Jake Paul. Yes, he was the better fighter, but there was multiple times where Jake was getting on the inside and hitting him on the chin, and that's what made KSI think he can win this. Is early on in that fight, there's a moment where Jake Paul connects with a big right hand, and if you look at all the previous Tommy Fury fights, he does get hit.
Every left hooks in that fight, Jake Paul could miss him with a left hook.
That's right.
And I think KSI's looked at it and gone, if I hit you like that, you're going out, and he's betting the house on it.
But that's what makes me like sure Tommy's going to win, is because I don't think KSI is as good as a boxer as Jake Paul. So whilst Jake Paul got to do those things, I don't know that KSI is going to be able to do those things. But I don't necessarily think that Tommy's going to be able to knock him out, and he's just going to choose not to. If he can, he will. But I reckon he's just going to control the fight and win. He's not a devastating puncher.
Do you know why I think it'll end in a knockout one way or another? Is because KSI fights for the knockout, and usually when someone's fighting for the knockout, they're going to get knocked out or they're getting the knockout.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Do you have KSI beating Tommy?
I think no. I think naturally everyone's going to favour Tommy, and that like betting odds should be him as the favourite. Experience, age, everything, size is on his side, but KSI has one punch knockout power, in my opinion. He does have that. I don't know if that'll translate.
What is you have a lot of faith in his power. What is that based on?
I've not witnessed that.
It's Vidal Riley trained him, and Vidal Riley and his dad coaches him. I spent enough time with them, and they don't bullshit people, and they said like, he actually has the power of a pro boxer. It's just he doesn't have the fundamentals and stuff like that yet when they were training him.
Okay, fair enough.
So I don't know if he's picked them up, because the latest fights, he just kills the guys early on, and they weren't of a high level either. So the thing that gave me confidence about Jake Paul going in there to just look good and to have a good fight was I've seen him in 6 to 8 round fights against guys who we know are of a certain level. So we got to see Jake tested, and there was times where he was covering up well. He knew how to last and survive in bad moments and then come back into a fight, and he carried his power throughout the rounds as well. Whereas KSI, he's a real anomaly. Like there's no data. So can he knock out Tommy Fury? I think he could land that and knock him out, yes, but I wouldn't feel confident.
You're suffering with
after the first few rounds. If it goes more than a few rounds, I'd be worried that the technique of Tommy, we would control him, and then he'd start putting it on him. And whereas Jake has really covered up in those late rounds, and I've seen that, I haven't seen that from KSI.
But I think that's almost the answer. There's no data for KSI, because we haven't seen it. Jake Paul's kind of been out there and kind of had the tests, at whatever level you want to put it.
Yeah.
He's had some tests and we've seen some progress with each fight, pretty much with him. Whereas KSI, he's been out the game for quite a while.
And then just
he's,
got back in.
he's just getting back into it. We've never seen it before, and even in the recent fights, he hasn't been tested well enough to know if he's got them ingredients. So, like, if Tommy Fury, I just think Jake KSI and Jake Paul, it's like it's two different levels. I put Jake Paul up here and KSI's until he's been tested and we've seen those fights, we can't assess him.
One thing I can say is when he fought Logan, the reason he beat Logan is because he had more of the dog in him.
But I feel like that was so long ago.
That was the intro.
That was when everybody was absolute novice. The game's improved since then. Well, because of Jake Paul, he's took the standard right up there. So, like, when we're talking about KSI and Jake Paul at this point in time, to me, it's just chalk and cheese. You can't even compare them.
But then, do you know what you're suffering with, bro? I'm going to help you out. You're suffering with a thing called brethren bias.
Yeah,
we all have it.
Yeah.
It's a thing when your brethren's fighting and you just believe that somehow your brethren's going to get it done. He believes that if I fight Takam one day, I'm going to have a moment. He always puts me in there with Takam. He feels like I'm going to have a moment.
When he keeps the face.
I won't.
Yeah, that look, and obviously it would be like, it would be the most amazing moment in for a YouTuber to beat the pro guy. It's like the fucking Disney moment, isn't it? You're like, wow. Yeah, absolutely. So I am praying for it. But I think regardless, they just need to get Jake Paul KSI next.
100%.
Yeah, because that is the, like,
even if they lose,
McGregor Mayweather type fight of
even if they lose, that's what we want to see.
That's right.
In a way, it's kind of hopefully that KSI does beat him. But the only thing I'd say with Tommy Fury, he does get hit, and if his power is what you say it is, there is a chance, because there's been a few fights where I thought, oh, you look vulnerable, especially when the pressure's on him and he gets to the ropes, his chin's in the air, he's kind of swinging.
He went down against Jake Paul.
Yeah.
So
it was debatable. It was kind of a bit of a balance. Was he hurt? It's really hard to say, but he went down at the end of the day.
And also now, Tommy been paid.
Yeah.
Right? This is the first time we're getting Tommy Fury fat. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're getting engaged to Molly May. You're married to Molly May. You got a kid now. You're caked out. Like, how driven are you going to be?
It's hard to wrong him, like, the way his life journey's gone, because obviously he was kind of being a boxer before Love Island. Yeah. But after that, it's like, mate, your family's set. Everyone's got money. He's the luckiest man alive.
Yeah, he literally stumbled onto Molly May in his dating show, and he's like, and she's now a multi-millionaire, marries her. He gets these YouTubers who, let's face it, on pro level boxers calling him out, and he's just making, like, and he's handsome.
You can't wrong him. You can't wrong him.
Even it was when I knew that the money is different is when Idris Virgo wanted to fight him, and he goes, "Nah, mate, not enough money in it for me." And I said, "Wow, he's actually starting to." And this is Misfits though. Right? In this Misfits thing, he's talking.
He's fighting world champion money. He's definitely
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
This guy was on Loose Women with the strap that they gave him the next day. His thing's different.
Well, I can't wait for the boxer that says, "I'm coming over to Misfits to get some."
You know who that should be?
Eubank Jr.
Eubank Jr.
This is like Vidal called him out, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Of course not. Yeah,
he's not going to see.
I want Eubank Jr. in the Misfits. That's a personality.
He'll be there soon. He'll be there soon.
He did call out Jake Paul, didn't he?
He'll be there soon. Trust me.
Long may that continue.
Do you think that could actually happen?
Double collar Eubank, absolutely, with the high collars, giving the wickedest press conference.
KSI fought two guys in one night. Don't put that past Eubank. Eubank would do gloves are off. Just Eubank, two guys sitting there.